welcome to the deep dive. This time you've sent us some really, foundational material. We're looking at excerpts from the very beginning of the Mahabharata, Book 1, Adi Parva, Section 1.
That's right. Foundational is definitely the word.
So our mission today is to, plunge into these opening verses and really try to dig out the core insights. Why was this text created? Why did it matter so much, even right from the start?
Exactly. And it's a fascinating entry point. We're talking a text considered this monumental source of wisdom, a sacred history they also called Bharata.
Right, Bharata.
And what's striking, even in these first few bits, is the sheer reverence it commanded. I mean, highly esteemed by gods, by sages. It's quite the setup.
Okay, so the scene, it's set in this ancient forest, Naimisha. And we've got a narrator, Ugrasrava, also called Sauti. He turns up at this 12-year sacrifice hosted by the sage Sonika.
A long gathering.
Yeah. And the other sages there, they're just incredibly keen to hear what Sauti knows. They actually specifically ask him to recount the Purana first revealed by Krishna Dwapayana.
Or Vyasa, as he's more commonly known, the compiler.
Exactly, Vyasa, the one credited with putting the Mahabharata together. So right away, you get this strong sense of a story being passed down, like a chain of knowledge.
Yeah, that lineage. What strikes you about that initial framing?
Well, it's that deliberate highlighting of the transmission, isn't it?
I think so too.
Yeah.
Sauti mentions hearing it from Vaisampayana,
Right.
who himself recited it at King Janamajaya's big snake sacrifice, after Vyasa composed it.
That's a key detail.
It really is. This careful lineage, it just underscores the value they placed on authentic knowledge and the importance of a reliable chain of instruction. It wasn't just some story. Its authority came from that connection all the way back to Vyasa.
And you can almost feel the sage's anticipation, can't you?
Oh, definitely.
Their specific request for the Purana of Dwapayana, the Bharata, it really emphasizes their deep respect for this particular work and where it came from. They weren't just looking for casual stories.
Precisely. They knew what they were asking for. And Sauti adds that this history is already spreading. Some bards have published it, others are teaching it, and still more will keep spreading it.
So it's alive, not just an old text.
Exactly. It gives you the sense that the Mahabharata wasn't some static artifact, but a living, evolving thing, actively being shared, kept relevant.
Okay, now here's where it gets, truly epic. Sauti starts describing the very beginning of everything, a time of total darkness, right? No light, just void.
That primordial darkness.
Why start such a huge history with the creation of the entire cosmos? What's the thinking there?
Well, that darkness, it serves as this powerful backdrop, doesn't it, for everything that's about to emerge. The text then talks about a mighty egg, Mahadivya.
The cosmic egg.
Yes, the primal cause, the one inexhaustible seed where everything begins. It's an idea you see in other creation stories, too, that single source holding all potential.
And then things start hatching, so to speak.
Sort of. What's interesting here is the emergence from this egg seems almost simultaneous. You get divine beings and the basic elements, suggesting this kind of parallel unfolding, not strictly step by step.
And who comes out first? Brahma, the creator.
Right, the grandfather.
Along with these other figures, Manu, Vasishta, Daksha, the Prajapatis, and then a whole host of divine beings. Viswadevas, Adityas, Vasus. It's a crowded universe from the get-go.
It really is. And if you think about that hierarchy, Brahma is presented as this ultimate eternal light, kind of beyond our grasp, but everywhere.
Right.
Then the Prajapatis and the others, think of them as like foundational progenitors, different aspects of cosmic power establishing this divinely ordered universe.
What about the Adityas and Vasus? They sound familiar.
They're ancient Vedic deities. They represent different natural forces, cosmic principles. It shows the deep roots this cosmology draws on, very old ideas being woven in.
So after the divine crowd, then comes the physical stuff.
Pretty much. Water, heavens, earth, air, sky, then the cycles, seasons, months, day and night, and, everything else. All animate and inanimate things, a complete creation.
Covering all the bases.
And importantly, it's not framed as a one-off event in the distant past. The text emphasizes the cyclical nature of time, the yugas.
Ah, the yugas. Creation, destruction, renewal.
Exactly. Constantly following each other like seasons. That idea of cosmic cycles is absolutely key to the whole Hindu worldview presented here.
Okay, so the narrative then seems to shift gears a bit. It focuses on lineage, ancestry, and just how vast the Bharata itself is.
It zooms in from the cosmic to the more well, human or at least dynastic.
We hear about generations of divas, and
Mm.
then it traces ancestry to these really important dynasties, the
Hmm.
Kurus, Yadus, Bharata, Yadi, Ikshwaku.
Right. Big names.
It feels like it's grounding the epic in a specific history, a specific culture. Why is nailing down that lineage so crucial right at the start?
Well, by linking the story to these established lineages, the text is doing more than just telling a tale. It's positioning itself as a legitimate history, a holy history, as it calls it.
Ah, I see.
It connects the events, the characters to a recognized past. It gives them weight, authenticity, significance for the audience of the time.
Now, when they describe what's in the Mahabharata, wow, it's almost overwhelming.
It is.
So it covers the Vedas, yoga, Vijnana, wisdom, right?
Yeah.
Dharma, artha, kama,
Righteous conduct, wealth, desire.
rules for conduct, histories, various student, basically everything.
Mhm.
Vyasa apparently saw it all and put it all in. It's presented as the ultimate knowledge source.
It really makes you think about the intention behind compiling something so massive. It suggests the Mahabharata wasn't just for entertainment. It was meant as a comprehensive guide to life itself.
Touching everything.
All aspects of human experience, the spiritual, the practical, the whole search for understanding.
So how did a work this monumental actually get, well, put together and shared? We hear Vyasa published it in both long and short forms.
Yes, detailed and abridged versions, which suggests they knew different people would engage differently, catering to various levels of interest and capacity.
That makes sense.
And what's really insightful is how people apparently started reading it. Some with a specific mantra, others jumping into certain stories first, like Astika or Uparachara.
Oh, interesting, like entry points.
Exactly. While the really dedicated scholars, the Brahmanas, would study the whole thing, it shows this flexible, multi-layered way to access the wisdom inside.
It also mentions Vyasa doing intense spiritual work, first penance, meditation, analyzing the Veda before composing it.
That really underscores the effort, doesn't it? And the spiritual grounding of the whole project. This wasn't just dashed off.
Definitely not. And then comes this amazing bit with divine help. Brahma himself sees how huge this task is and suggests Ganesha.
The elephant-headed god, known for wisdom and removing obstacles.
Suggests Ganesha as the scribe, the one to physically write it all down.
It's a wonderful image.
And the deal they strike, it's such a fascinating detail. Ganesha says, okay, I'll write nonstop.
But only if you, Vyasa, never pause in your dictation.
And Vyasa agrees, but with his own condition, that Ganesha has to fully understand every verse before writing it down. And apparently Vyasa deliberately threw in some really complex verses, these knots.
Precisely to make Ganesha pause and think. It adds this almost playful but deeply intellectual layer to the creation story. What do you make of that?
It's brilliant. It shows both the sheer speed and volume Vyasa was working at and the incredible depth of the content.
Right. Even a god famed for wisdom needed moments to ponder Vyasa's complex verses. It highlights the density, the layers of meaning packed in there.
Sauti then mentions his own knowledge, these 800 complex verses, plus Sukha knew them, maybe Sanjaya, and this mystery around the closely knit, difficult slokas that even Ganesha pondered.
Yeah, those 800 verses are often mentioned as a kind of core or perhaps the most complex part.
It really emphasizes the depth, doesn't it? The intellectual challenge the text presents.
It suggests that even back then, they recognized its complexity. That it wasn't meant to be simple. There were layers to uncover, potential for deeper understanding. It invites interpretation.
The text then shifts to these incredible metaphors to describe why the Bharata is so important.
The impact it's meant to have.
It's like collyrium opening the eyes of the ignorant. It's like the sun dispelling darkness. It expands the intellect like the moon, helps a water lily bloom. It illuminates nature like a lamp of history. Powerful stuff.
They really are powerful images. Those analogies are just so effective at getting across the transformative power they believed the Mahabharata held. Not just a book, but a source of enlightenment.
Something that could genuinely change you.
Exactly. Dispelling ignorance, fostering wisdom. Ideas that, still resonate when we think about knowledge today.
And then there's that beautiful, almost organic metaphor, the karta as a tree.
Ah, yes, that's a classic one.
The table of contents is the seed. The different books or parvas are the roots, the trunk, the branches, leaves, flowers, and the ultimate fruit. It's such a complete picture.
It really captures the interconnectedness of it all, doesn't it? How all the different stories and teachings fit together. From the basic principles, the roots, to the diverse narratives, the branches, and the final outcomes, the fruit. a holistic view of this huge body of knowledge.
It even mentions it provides a livelihood for poets.
Which highlights the cultural impact, right? It wasn't just religious or historical, it was woven into the fabric of society, inspiring art, literature, even people's jobs.
Deeply embedded.
Absolutely.
Okay, then we get a quick rundown of the lineage leading to the main conflict. Bhishma's role, Vyasa fathering Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidura through Vichitravira's wives.
Right, bringing the focus back to the Kuru dynasty.
It reinforces that historical context we talked about.
Yeah.
And it mentions Vyasa published the Bharata after their sons were born and grown.
And then Vaisampayana reciting it to Janamejaya during that sacrifice, it loops us right back to Sauti's opening frame story.
Highlighting the performance aspect again.
Exactly, the communal experience of hearing the epic.
The text also throws in these quick character summaries. The greatness of the Kurus, Gandhari's virtue, Vidura's wisdom, Kunti's constancy,
The divinity of Vasudeva, Krishna.
the Pandava's righteousness, and then the flip side, the evil ways of Dhritarashtra's sons. It's setting up the moral landscape.
Precisely, laying the groundwork for the motivations, the conflicts, introducing the key players and their core traits, the heroes, and, well, the others.
Now, the text length itself seems to have evolved.
Oh, dramatically. Vyasa's first compilation, the core Bharata, was apparently 24,000 verses, excluding episodes.
Okay, still massive.
Then he made a super short version, an epitome of just 150 verses, for his son Sukha and others.
Wow, quite a difference.
But then later, a compilation of 600,000 verses emerged, with different portions supposedly recited in different realms, the Devas, the Pitras, ancestors, the Gandharvas.
600,000. That's staggering. How does that even work?
Well, the text says 300,000 were for the Devas, 150,000 for the Pitras, 100,000 for the Gandharvas, leaving 100,000 for mankind.
The human portion.
Recited by Vaisampayana, and Sauti, our narrator here, claims to be reciting that 100,000 verse version. It connects him directly to this immense tradition.
It really underscores the epic scale, the idea that its wisdom was almost too vast for just the human world.
Yeah.
Cosmic significance.
Definitely. And then there's that other symbolic view, the Pandavas as a tree.
Right. Yudhishthira is the tree of religion and virtue.
Arjuna is the trunk, its strength.
Vimasena, its branches. Nakula and Sahadeva, the fruit and flowers.
And the roots, Krishna, Brahma, and the Brahmanas.
It's such a neat, powerful way to grasp their essential roles and how they connect.
It really is a beautiful piece of allegory capturing their essence and their link to Dharma.
We also get a quick look at the Pandavas' early lives. Pandu's misfortune, their divine parentage,
Born to gods, Dharma, Vayu, Indra, the Aswins.
their upbringing with ascetics, and then finally being introduced to Dhritarashtra and his sons, setting the stage for everything to come.
It gives that necessary backstory, highlights their extraordinary origins, and brings them into the main Kuru court before the major conflicts really ignite.
And the text then flags key events leading towards the war. Arjuna winning Krishna. Well, Draupadi at the Swayamvara.
Right, Draupadi. And Krishna becoming their close ally.
Arjuna and Suhadra's marriage. Arjuna helping Agni burn the Kandava forest. That's a big one.
A very significant and destructive event. Then their escape from the House of Lac.
The attempt on their lives.
Bhima killing Jarasandha. Yudhishthira's huge Rajasuya sacrifice, which sparks Duryodhana's envy.
The dice game. That's the turning point.
Absolutely. Duryodhana's humiliation at the sacrifice, his envy, Sakuni's plotting, and Dhritarashtra, despite warnings, consenting to that fateful game. That really sets the stage for the Great War.
Even in that quick summary, you see the conflict brewing. Rivalry, injustice, bad choices.
All the seeds are sown right there.
Then the tone shifts quite dramatically with Dhritarashtra's lament.
Yes, it's a powerful section. He's looking back, filled with regret.
He recounts all these omens, all these signs that pointed to the Pandavas' victory, and how he just didn't see it or didn't act. He keeps saying, I had no hope of success.
What's striking is just how many times he says it. He lists event after event, omen after omen. It really emphasizes the overwhelming evidence he ignored, his own blindness, literal and figurative.
And his regret over his son's actions, his own weakness.
Yep.
It was quite moving, actually.
His despair is palpable. He wishes for death. It highlights the devastating human cost, doesn't it? Not just on the battlefield, but for the families, the leaders.
But then Sanjaya tries to console him.
Right. Sanjaya shifts the perspective. He reminds Dhritarashtra of all the great, powerful kings from the past. lists a whole load of them.
Who also, despite their might, eventually succumb to time.
Exactly. It puts Dhritarashtra's tragedy in this much broader historical, even philosophical context. Impermanence.
Sanjaya basically says time is the root of everything.
Pretty much. Time creates, time destroys. It's inescapable, unconquerable. It offers this profound, almost detached explanation for why things happened as they did. It wasn't just about their choices, but about the larger forces at play.
Which brings the text back again to how important studying the Bharata is. Even more emphasis this time.
Yes, it really hammers home that point towards the end of this section.
Reading or hearing it is presented as an act of piety, something that purges sins. It contains descriptions of gods, sages, celestial beings.
And the eternal Vasudeva, Krishna, with his divine attributes, discussions of Adhyatma, the nature of the self, the Purusha, deep philosophy woven in.
It claims just reading or hearing this introduction chapter frees you from sin and difficulties. Why keep repeating how valuable it is?
It really underscores the intended purpose, doesn't it? This isn't just a story. It's meant to be a guide for living righteously, a source of spiritual and ethical teaching that can actually purify the listener or reader. That's the claim.
And the analogies get even stronger. The Bharata is truth itself, it's nectar.
Better than anything else. Like butter from curd, like a brahmana among people, like the Aranyaka texts among Vedas, nectar among medicines, the ocean among waters, the cow among animals.
It's placing it at the absolute pinnacle.
Exactly. These metaphors aim to instill the deepest respect. This is the essential source of wisdom, nourishing the soul, revealing ultimate truth.
Even reciting a single foot, a small part, during a Shraddha ceremony brings merit.
Yes, and history and Puranas are needed to really understand the Vedas properly. The Bharata can destroy even grave sins, it claims.
Listening reverently brings long life, fame, heaven.
It's piling on the benefits. And then the ultimate comparison, weighing the Bharata against all four Vedas.
And the Bharata wins.
It proves heavier. That's why it's called Mahabharata, the Great Bharata, because of its superior substance, its gravity.
Wow, that's quite a statement.
It certainly is. And the very last thought is a sort of ethical reminder. Things like penance, tapa, study, Vedic rules, even acquiring wealth. They're fine, unless they're abused.
A final point about balance and right action.
Exactly. It's a crucial reminder that the principles here aren't just rules to be followed blindly. They need wisdom, discernment, ethical awareness, a lesson for any time, really.
So wrapping up this deep dive into the Adikarva's opening, it's crystal clear, isn't it? The Mahabharata is presented right from the absolute beginning as this immense, divinely inspired source. It's wisdom, history, philosophy, ethics, all rolled into one.
Absolutely. A text passed down carefully through generations, holding enormous cultural and spiritual weight. This first section perfectly lays the foundation for an epic that promises cosmology, lineages, timeless insights, and, of course, the complex drama of human conflict.
It really sets the stage for something that's meant to be more than just a story. A guide to understanding ourselves, our world, our place in the cosmos, still full of things that make you think.
Definitely. Still provoking thought and reflection thousands of years later.
So, for you, our listener, considering just how much value was placed on the Mahabharata as this source of knowledge and wisdom, right from its birth, what aspects of ancient stories like this do you find most compelling or most relevant for understanding the human condition today? Something to ponder on.
A great question to leave with.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.